One of my biggest regrets in life is that as a younger Vernon, I never got myself a dual disc. Can you imagine rocking up to the playground duel scene, rocking this sweet getup, and just watching the other kids break down in awe of how cool you are? But alas, pocket money was tight, and I had to duel on the bare playground benches like a peasant. But not only do Yugioh's dual discs look very cool, they're also a great case study in design. First, a little introduction to the dual disc. Now, I'm going to be talking mostly in terms of the Yugioh anime here, because that's what I'm more familiar with. Yugioh is an anime that revolves around characters risking life and limb in high-stake duels. Note that, in this context, duel means a match of a children's card game. It sounds very silly, and on some level it is, especially some moments from the first season. But as fans of the show can attest, these duels can be memorable and intense. And that's in no small part due to the dual discs. During the first season of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, the card games are played in small arenas. Duelists stand either side and summon their monsters in the middle, and things are all a bit static. They tried to spice things up a bit, like the time a guy rigged the arena with flame traps that didn't actually hurt the other person at all. But at the end of the day, you were still watching shonen anime where the protagonists were standing in place at a podium during the fight sequences. There were a lot of times where the baddies would lure the heroes into a duel at an arena specifically tailored to their monsters, and it was all a bit contrived. But then, partway through the season, teenage billionaire Seto Kaiba comes up with a new way of dueling. He needs to find a way to beat the big bad of the season in a duel in order to save his brother, and a portable dueling system would allow him to duel opponents anywhere he liked. He also seemed to think that sticking his cards into a frisbee would make him a better duelist for some reason, but to no surprise, it didn't. But it did provide him a unique advantage in a duel against Yugi. In one of the series' most metal moments, Kaiba was about to lose to Yugi until he effectively threatened to throw himself off a building unless Yugi threw the duel. He takes his card game seriously. Then, early into the second season, Kaiba is throwing a tournament of his own, and he shows up in a helicopter like, "Surprise, assholes! The whole city's a duel arena now." Everyone competing in the tournament has to use his new and improved DUEL DISK SYSTEM. Now, the introduction of the dual disc really started to ramp things up for a few reasons. First of all, look at them. Dual discs are such an inspired way to play card games. Pretty much every pose the characters pull while using one looks cool, making duels look much more dynamic in motion. In many ways, they're equivalent to a weapon wielded in a more traditional anime, down to the dramatic unsheathing when confronted by an enemy. They also do wonders for a character's silhouette. While Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonists generally don't need help getting their silhouettes to stand out, you can slap a dual disc onto any character design to make it clear and obvious that this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Character you're dealing with. There's such distinctive iconography. But the big reason why I think it moves beyond being just a cool aspect of character design and into something really special is how they allow writers to shake up the formula when it comes to scenarios. Battles no longer had to take place in specific static areas. They could occur anywhere. This worked great in the Battle City arc, because now enemies could be lurking anywhere waiting to strike. They could come to the protagonist rather than having to set traps and lures. If one character saw another character out in public, they could just immediately challenge him to a battle, Pokemon Trainer style. And since duels can take place anywhere now, they take place everywhere. You get duels in the middle of the street, duels in aquariums, duels on boats, and then when the series is feeling particularly silly, Season 4, the dual disc allows the opportunity to have more action-focused set pieces as well. If the writers want to put Yugi's life on the line by having him duel on top of a runaway train, they can do it. If the writers want a scene where an antagonist hijacks a hero's plane and fights them on top of it, they can do it. If Kaiba wants to throw himself off a building, well, I guess there's nothing stopping that either. The ridiculousness of situations like these are part of why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so beloved. The dual disc is something so simple, yet so ingenious. It shows a great understanding of the storytelling limitations of the world that's been created, and alleviates these to present more engaging action. When you think of card games, you think of people sitting at a table, not moving around too much. It certainly seems like a strange premise for a shonen anime, but the dual discs allow it to move beyond this framework and become much more dynamic. And on top of this, it adds an extra unique factor to character designs that are already quite cool. The dual disc is a big part of why Yugioh is so popular, but it's easy to overlook exactly how clever they are. So I couldn't help myself but ramble a bit about them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your time here. If so, I would greatly appreciate it if you clicked the thumbs up button down there and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. So long!